The biggest Echo remake has finally just teased us its first bout of gameplay. Everyone, welcome to A2. Before we get into that, first, a history lesson. About a month ago, Echo VR had finally said goodbye and shut down its servers for good, leaving the community in shambles. And although we were given 6 months to emotionally prepare and get our last games in, it still hit hard. And the grief-stricken community that was slowly starting to hit got one last punch to the ground. However, coming out of the smoke, multiple challengers arrived, trying to take the throne and fill the spot that Echo Arena once had. These unofficial remakes were Hex, Rebounders, and now what we know it as, A2. And in the beginning, the first two remakes picked up a lot of steam. Many people were joining the two communities, and everyone was looking forward to what they had in store. And as development progress was made publicly and privately, their games were slowly starting to look like what Echo Arena once did, with the two remakes having public servers that you can play on right now in order to try out the game with other people. And while everyone was happy with indie developers getting their time to shine and cultivate their own communities, the sleeping giant, backed by one of the most popular development teams on the MetaQuest 2, finally peeked its head up and gave a warning.
We are working on, and in this new game, our plan is to take seed of what Echo Arena has started.
The announcement that Another Axiom was working on a game that wanted to capture the spirit of Echo popped many heads up in the community, some even outside of Echo. And while most of development remained a secret with not a lot of community interaction and not even getting a Discord server until a couple months ago, the community's hope of A2's success still seemed most apparent. And it wasn't because it was Another Axiom that was developing it. Rather, it was the team that Another Axiom had assembled around it, with notable names such as the famed modeler Z Zenith, or the person who solo developed his own remake, Circuit Lord, and even having guidance from their own team with people such as Rad David and other former employees helping out with the project. The writing on the wall was clear, and with the community that Another Axiom already had, they could create two titans on the MetaQuest 2 that could bring in more companies, fans, and creators. And with a clear and concise roadmap ending with an App Lab release in 2024, the community's hope and faith was at an all-time high. And then, silence. For 2 months, we really got no news about what was going on with A2's development. And fast forward a couple months to August 15th, we got an announcement of a Las Vegas event happening where you'll be able to go and test out A2 in early access. And while yes, that was pretty cool in itself, no real news about actual gameplay and concept art had been announced. That was until August 30th, 2023. The former project lead for Echo VR and now one of the top employees at Another Axiom released the first screenshot of A2. And in it, he gave us the layout and concept art of their developed arena, which honestly looks beautiful. And with that teaser released, we were also given Another Axiom's development philosophy, which went over the history of Another Axiom as a development team. The text reads, "Just over a year ago, Another Axiom was a team of one, Lemming, who had an idea that he wanted to try. Inspired by what he had played as an early VR adopter, that idea turned into Gorilla Tag. Part of what made Gorilla Tag unique was how he openly talked with the VR community from the beginning. He shared early screenshots and builds with people, far earlier than most developers do, so we could rapidly iterate. This had been well documented publicly. On the Gorilla Tag Discord, it's possible to scroll all the way back to the beginning to see those first screenshots. There are a few really good History of Gorilla Tag videos out there to show the historical development and progression. Then he shares a video of the early development of the Titan that is now Gorilla Tag. Another Axiom is now a team of 50 people making Gorilla Tag. In our new project that we've codenamed A2, while the team has rapidly grown, we want to keep the same radically open development used for Gorilla Tag. We are excited about the idea of sharing prototypes and concepts that are freshly made, even if that work will ultimately be thrown away and rebuilt with better ideas. We think we can achieve something special by working together from the very beginning." Then he mentions the expectations of early access. We recognize that coming to Vegas is a significant personal commitment that you're making to our team, and we want players to know what they can expect to see. To help manage those expectations, we'd like to share some of the early progress we've made on the game by dropping dev blogs. Understand this is a work in progress. We built a talented team, but this game won't ship until later next year at the earliest. Early access will give you a behind-the-scenes peek on how game development is made. Gray, block-out environments, programmer assets, all while the final look of the game hasn't been established. You'll see level layouts that will never ship, mechanics that are too OP, design explorations, lots of bugs, and fun things in between. This is not a beta. This is early access. However, this is the fun part of game development, and we are excited to bring you in. Then he mentions Vegas. We'll start the event with a welcome that explains how the day is going to go. There will be a space sectioned off for running groups through the game. Outside of the game, we will have scheduled sessions with developers to discuss feedback that will help us refine our goals. This will not be a non-stop free-for-all playtest session. We're going to need your cooperation and help to manage these scheduled sessions to give everyone that comes out equal access to playing time. Our goal is to give everyone at least a single session of 30 continuous minutes in the build. We're hoping that we can push that number higher, but this is a realistic target for the number of tickets that we are going to issue. Our plan is to show some of the tools that we want to eventually release and get your feedback on what is important and what you would like to see. Over the next weeks, we will be collecting ideas and topics from you directly for the event. In all honesty, if you're coming out just to play the build for 30 minutes, this is not the event for you. We'll be adding players to our builds over time through development, and you'll be able to play from the comfort of your own home when it's time. This is the event for you if you want to try out some of our crazy ideas and get into spirited conversations for hours about the vision for our game. Here are some of the features that we're planning on talking about at the event. As a robot champion, build a community of galactic Olympians beyond the limits of gravity, with stations, traveling through a fleet of stations to find your community. Once arrived, float or take one of the many high-speed systems to different casual game modes. However, if larger arena sport games are more your style, then find your way to one of the many stadiums. Hang out in the bleachers with your friends to cheer on your favorite players, commentate from the caster's booth, or float through the locker rooms to join in on the action. Game mechanics. Learn more about our new approach to zero-G movement. We're targeting human scale speeds with more physicality, hand-based collision, sliding, and paddle-based momentum physics, all while using very few controller inputs. We have removed the ability to grab flat walls, only allowing grabbing on bars and handles that your fingers could wrap around. We hope this model will follow people's expectations of how hands will work in real life, while adding depth and a high skill ceiling by layering multiple physical mechanics together. Level Editor. The tools we use to build the game will be tools we ship to the community. Grab your friends and build the game mode live while they are playing. Community Stations. We'll share our plans on how players can run their own servers, control their own stations, host their own rule sets, moderate, and customize the look and feel of activities, posters, game modes, and more. See you in game and in Vegas.